pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor has worked really, really hard during pregnancy and birth, really hard. It's stretched to 3 times its length. This is the sling-like muscle in your pelvis. It's worked so hard that it really needs a good, solid rest. So what that means is lying the fuck down, getting horizontal, and allowing gravity to do its work and knitting those pelvic fibers back together. There's lots of ways we can support the pelvic floor, but the number one way is to actually just let it rest and let the body do its thing and heal. So what we want to be doing is lying down. What we don't want to be doing is going for long walks or going and sitting on hard cafe chairs or baby wearing all the time. We just don't want to be up because that's gravity pushing down on the pelvic floor. You know, if I'm sitting here, all of my organs are pushing down on my pelvic floor right now. And it just can't hack it in postpartum. You know, some people can have prolapses from things that happen during birth. A prolapse is where your uterus or your bladder will sort of drop into the vaginal canal, like push down, so there'll be a bulge. And that can happen from birth, but it can happen from a lot of things. It doesn't have to be birth related. But one of the things that can happen, which I think people don't know enough about, is it can happen in postpartum. If you are up doing your 10,000 steps at 3 weeks postpartum, you are risking a prolapse. I mean, that's an extreme example, but if you are up and about too much, if you're wearing a baby and chasing after a toddler, you are risking a prolapse. And trust me when I tell you, they're not fun. We don't want to end up with a prolapse. They can be healed, but they take time. Sometimes you need surgery. You just don't even go there. Please lie the fuck down. I know I keep saying it, but I honestly want you to remember that. The other thing that we can do to support our pelvic floor is eating the right food. So when we talk about the food that we eat, and as I'll be showing you in the different things that we're cooking, we really want to focus on glycine, which is an amino acid that really helps with wound healing, skin stretching, muscle stretching, and rebuilding tissue. So glycine comes from slow cooked meats, like tough cuts of meats that you've slow cooked in stews or curries. It also comes from bone broth, which is just amazing. I'll show you how to make that. And we just want lots of it to help support that process. So, I mean, our whole body is being stretched and, you know, worked really hard, but in particular, the pelvic floor has worked extremely hard. The other thing you might want to consider doing, we talked about belly binding. You can also consider some shorts, like SRC is one of the brands, but that will just give a bit of extra support to your perineum, where, you know, your pelvic floor is sort of sitting on top of your perineum. So that might be something you want to consider. I wouldn't say they're necessary. Rest is necessary. If you're just using the shorts so you can get up and do things, no, that's not what we're there for. The other big thing that you can do is some diaphragmatic breathing. You can do this from day dot. It's a breathing exercise and very, very simple. So your diaphragm is the muscle, it's a little sort of under your boobs. You can't quite see where I'm sitting, but basically it's very much connected to your pelvic floor, very much connected to how your organs are moving, your ribs, everything. So with our diaphragmatic breathing, we put our hand on our heart, another hand on our tummy, our womb, and you don't do that. That was not a diaphragmatic breath. We're breathing into our diaphragm, which is here. So you can even put your hands here to feel like that breath. So we want to be breathing out with the ribs, in with the ribs, not, or even tummy breathing. That's not it. Diaphragm. And it's because it's so connected to the pelvic floor, it's really just a good way to start that brain connection happening. But it's also taking diaphragmatic breaths, taking 7 diaphragmatic breaths can really help your nervous system and kick that parasympathetic nervous system into gear. So do your diaphragmatic breathing all day, every day, but seriously, as much as you can. So if you're sitting there with your hand on your heart, your hand on your chest, imagine that muscle as you're breathing. I always stuff this up. When you're inhaling and then exhaling. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then the next stage of that, you know, maybe you want to do it at a week postpartum, 2 weeks postpartum, is connecting your pelvic floor to it. So you're breathing in, imagining the muscle going down, and breathing out, imagining the muscle going up, and then pulling up your pelvic floor. So there's a few different analogies. One is picking up a blueberry with your vagina. So inhale, exhale, connecting to that pelvic floor. Inhale, maybe you're a jellyfish. Inhale, maybe you're sucking a thick smoothie through a straw. Okay, so that's just reconnecting to your pelvic floor and helping with that mind-body connection. We're not at the stage of doing any kind of pelvic floor exercises, and don't just go willy-nilly doing Kegels, because that often isn't what's needed. I highly recommend a visit to a women's health physio around the 8 weeks postpartum mark, so you can suss out how you're healing, how everything's going, if there's anything that's bothering you, and make sure that you go to someone who's doing an internal examination, as well as kind of looking at how your body's moving. Like, are your ribs really feeling stuck and compressed? I know mine were. So all of that. Now, if you have given birth via C-section, this absolutely applies to you. It's not just for vaginal births, and you need to be even more aware of resting and lying down, because if you've got an incision, you, excuse me, you don't want that gravity pushing on the incision. Lie down, lie the fuck down. How many more times am I going to say it? A lot, guys, a lot, because that's something that I really, really, really just want you to remember. And I want my annoying voice in your head when you're like, woo, I'm just going to go to the cafe at 3 days postpartum. And then you're like, oh, wait, lie the fuck down. Yes, if I see you at a cafe at 3 days postpartum, I'm not going to be happy. Don't do it. Don't be walking for more than 5 minutes at a time. Your time will come. You know, you can absolutely return to exercise safely, but if you do it too soon, too hard, too fast, you'll pay the price. It's not worth it. Just be patient.